Hi, it's good to have you back. So today we're going to start in this squatting position here for the breathing. So take a deep breath in as you go all the way up and back down into the squat, as deep a squat as you can, and breathe it in and breathe it out and breathe it in again. Today's going to feel a lot like leg day. So just want to get you knowing that, early on. All right, let's keep on breathing. Let's move over to the oblique stretch. So stretching as much as you can to one side, breathing in, breathing out as you stretch into the other side. So just preparing the body for, especially because we're going to be using this part of the body, the core, then it's just good to warm it up nice and easy. Okay, let's get over to the body twist or the trunk twist. So breathing out as you go to one side, breathing in as you come back to center, breathing out as you go to that side, keeping your feet planted on the ground so they're not moving with you. We have 3 more pairs to go. Breathing in, breathing out. We have 2 more pairs to go. Okay, let's move on to some hip openers. So the idea is to take your knee to that side, lift it, and then bring it back to this other side. If you need to use a wall or something for stability, that would be awesome. But the idea is that we're really just trying to really open up that hip. There you go. We're familiar with this one here. So we're going to do about 5 or 6 ankle raises with both feet. And then we're going to switch over to doing it with only one leg. So just trying to get the rhythm, just trying to warm up the ankles before we come to the one that's a bit more demanding. So find your balance and then lift yourself and down. We're going to do 5 of these and then we're going to switch over to the other leg. That's 3, 4, and 5. Good. If you're struggling with your balance, then for today, you do not have to lift yourself up off the ground. Just focus on finding your balance. But if your balance is already pretty good, then you can do these ankle raises. Switch over to this other side for another 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, then switch for the last time. Okay, so we're going to stretch the quads. Let me just demonstrate. That's why I'm turning to the side. You don't have to start already. So the idea is to really squeeze it to yourself and then release. Then squeeze it to yourself as much as possible and then release. So it's a dynamic stretch. I'm not holding it for an extended period of time. All right, there you go. Then the other leg, hold it, squeeze it as much as you can, and then put it down. And switch, and squeeze, and release. Switch, squeeze, and release. If you're struggling with your balance, then you can use a wall. So stick to only one leg as you use the wall for balance, and then switch over to the other side. That's if you're struggling with your balance and have a risk of falling. Switching gears now. So hold your knee out in front and then squeeze it to yourself. So try and squeeze it to your chest as much as you can. You'll feel a stretch in your glutes area, which is also where we are targeting with the squeezing. So grab your knee, then bring it as high up as you can. Again, if you're struggling with your balance, you can use a wall for support. So just lie on one side, and then you can also do this lying on your back. Okay, the most important thing is that you're able to squeeze your knee to your chest as much as you can. All right, balance challenge. So we're going to hold it in that squeezed position. And then we're going to rotate our ankle 5 times clockwise and then 5 times anti-clockwise. This is also pretty good for you to test your balance, to work on your balance. And balance is actually a component of fitness. So all the best. All right, let's switch over to the other leg. Again, 5 times clockwise, 5 times anti-clockwise. If you're not sure which direction is which, so just make sure you do it 5 times one direction and then 5 times the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going to do a bit of a narrow squat, or at least a shoulder width squat. I'm going to demonstrate this on the side, how it looks like. So you're pushing your hips back. You're not just going down, you're pushing your hips back and also trying to keep your back as straight as possible and also keeping your feet on the ground. All right, let's go. One other thing I'm going to point out is how your knees look. So they shouldn't be coming in, they shouldn't be collapsing on the inside. So you should be consciously trying to keep them above your ankles. All right, let's go. I'm going to do 15 of these. That's 2. Keeping your feet flat on the ground, pushing your hips back, and consciously keeping your knees above your ankles. So they're not collapsing inwards towards each other. Keep going, count 15. And last one. I won't lie, I was tempted to have us hold the last one. I was like, nah, we can do that another time. You're welcome. Okay, let's switch gears now. So we're gonna do some front and side leg raises. Ideally, we should be doing these ones a little slower to work on our control. But well, just for today, let's do them at this pace. All right. And there you go. At some point, I lost count for this one, but the idea is you should be able to do 10 pairs. So front and side is 1. So front and side is 1. You should be able to do 10 of those before you switch over to the other side. All right, and go. Again, if you're struggling with your balance, you can always use a wall for support. Okay, don't risk falling down if your balance is not that good. Okay, next up we have modified bicycle crunches, which we'll do when we are standing. So opposite knee to opposite elbow. Try and keep your elbows high. High meaning at least parallel to the floor. We're going to do 10 pairs of these, or rather 20 repetitions, depending on how you're counting them. So if you count them as pairs, then left, right is one. If you're counting them as reps, then left is one, right is two, left is three, etc. So count as is best for you. I'm sure you're gonna be like, oh, not this one again. Okay, so we're gonna start with five of each leg just to try and remember or remind ourselves of how it goes. So knee and high knee. So kneeling down and high knee. That's two. We're gonna do three, and then five, and then we'll switch over to the other leg. Then we're gonna do five of these, and then we'll see what we're going to add on to this movement. Alright, let's come back to the original leg. Now we're going to combine two things. We're going to combine the high knee and the kick forward. Okay, so just to demonstrate, rather, how it works is the normal one, take a knee and then straight up. Take a knee, knee up, take a knee, straight up. So I'm going to do five of these, of this original leg, and straight up, knee, high knee, knee, and straight up. Knee, high knee, knee, and straight up. One. All right. Switch over to the other side. So five, five. So we're gonna do five again, or the five pairs on this side. That's one. That's two. We have two more to go. Then we're gonna switch over to the other side and repeat it. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna switch to this side and then do it again. Then we can rest at the very end. All right, ready? And go. High knee and straight up. High knee and straight up. I told you today was gonna feel a bit like leg day. Yeah. Anyway, so five on this side, and then once you're done, you can switch over to the other leg for another five pairs. Awesome. Okay, so you can rest as you shake out your legs, trying to clear out that burning sensation. Now, for the next one, we're going to have a bit of a combination. So we're going to have the shoulder width squat that we did in the beginning. Then we're going to combine it with that opposite knee, opposite elbow crunch. And we're going to do, I'm going to count the crunches. We're going to do 10 pairs of the crunches, meaning we're going to do about 20 squats. All right, let's go. All right, I repeated the leg over there, but the count still remains the same. So count 20 squats and then 10 pairs of these crunches. Keeping in mind that you're keeping your feet flat on the ground the entire time, and then you're not allowing your knees to collapse inward. Okay, last pair here. Squat and last knee. All right, very good. I told you today was going to be a leg day-ish. All right, take the time to shake out your legs, to rest if you need to, get some water again if you need to. We're going to go back to the ankle raises. So we're going to start with both of them. So 5, both of them. Then we'll switch over after the 5th one into the one leg ankle raise. Again, if you're struggling with your balance for this one, then just focus on standing on one leg. You don't have to do the raises. For those of us who are doing the raises, count 10 repetitions for one leg ankle raise. Then we'll switch over, but before we switch over, we will start again with a double ankle raise. So 5 of these, 4 and 5, then switch over to that other leg and do 10 repetitions of the single ankle raise. Those are 3, 4, 5. All right, we have 4 more to go. Okay. Now, when I'm taking a knee, it doesn't mean we're going to repeat what we did. We're going to come into a bit of stretching now. Okay, so this is the position we want to adopt. And then we're going to hinge forward and just really stretch the hip there and then back there. Then forward and back. So just going to come and do some bit of stretching. All right, ready? Get your nice position. Then forward and back. Forward. So just for a bit of background information, this hip extension that we're doing, because this is actually a hip extension for the back leg, is a movement that you do when you're walking. So when your foot is going all the way to the back, that hip extension is what we're doing. Okay, yeah, here we're going to hold it for about 10 seconds or at least 10 counts. And then we're going to push out the leg to one side and again hold it again for another 10 counts. So just really getting some movement into the hip. Okay, that's done. So next one now, dig your heel to the mat and then slide your arms or your fingers behind your legs. And then we're going to hold it over there. So I'm going to hold it for about 10 counts. And done. All right, let's switch over to the other leg. We're going to start with the forward and back movement. So just really getting to stretch that hip, getting some movement into it, because it's very, very useful when you're jogging, when you're running, and when you're walking. And walking is something that you do most of the time. All right, that's 3, 4. Then we're going to hold the 5th one for about 10 counts. So just move as much forward as you can. Then once we're done with those 10 counts, we're going to push that leg to the outside. So just really opening up that hip again. And we're going to hold this for 10 counts. And then once we're done with this, we're going to stretch the hamstring. All right. Dig the heel in front of you. Slide your arms, your fingers behind your leg, and then hold it as far as you can, and just hold it there for about 10 counts. Let's come back to a workout that is going to really fire up the legs, okay? So we're going to start with, you can keep this double leg raise. I'll explain later. But actually what we're actually doing is going to be doing single leg raise. Okay, so the other leg is just hanging. Now, if you're not comfortable doing the single leg raise because it's quite demanding on your thighs and your legs, keep both feet on the ground and do like we did in the previous one. But otherwise, we have one leg just hanging there. In fact, if it's hanging at the back, even better. You'll feel a bit more of the work when it's hanging at the back. If this is uncomfortable for you, then you can have both. Just do what we did last time when we had both on the ground. This is a bit more advanced. All right, good. Switch over to the other leg. We're gonna do 10 of these and go. Okay, last one for this leg. Brilliant. We're going to switch over to the other leg, do another 10. So we'll have done 20 of them in total by the end of today. All right, ready? And lift. So again, caution. Control your movements or your descent onto the mat. If you bang your knee to the mat, then you could end up messing up your knee in a very messed up way. So this is also all about control. Okay, which is why I'm saying if you're not comfortable doing the single leg raise, then do them, or doing it with only one leg, then do it with both until you're strong enough to be able to do with one leg. All right, then switch over and let's finish off with this 10, or at least finish off this workout, this movement with this last 10, because we still have a few more to do before we call it a day. Okay, that is done. So you can rest in the child's pose position. Just do what feels good. The good news is that we will not be repeating that one today. That was the only time we'd be doing that one. Okay, so we're gonna be up and standing. Up standing. I'm gonna repeat one of the movements we've done earlier, and at this time I was trying to see which one are we going to repeat. Which one is going to be less hard or difficult for you. So in the end, I decided to choose the one where we have the squat and the crunch, bicycle crunch. All right, so again, making sure that your feet are flat on the ground, knees aren't collapsing inward. Now that's one pair. We're gonna do 10 pairs of those, or if you're counting them as repetitions, we're gonna have 20 repetitions. This is the only movement that we're hopefully going to repeat. Hopefully. Amazing. Okay, so I have some good news in the sense that that is the last workout we're doing. So we're gonna move over to a stretching phase, and we're gonna start with stretching the hamstring. So this requires, well, we're gonna be standing, and this is the position that we're going to adopt. So the heel is planted, other foot is flat on the ground, and then you can bend the back leg. I didn't quite demonstrate that there, but you're gonna see it here. So the back leg is allowed to bend, the front leg remains straight. Okay, and then you slide it all the way down to your toes and up. So the idea is to slide your fingers at the back of your leg and all the way and up. Okay, so we're going to hold this last one. So sliding it all the way down, then we're going to hold it for about 10 counts. So this is one, that stretch that we usually call a static stretch or a holding stretch, which helps to increase flexibility. And I think in one class, we're just going to focus a lot on stretching. Then you'll tell me the difference, how you feel before and after. Let's come on to the other leg. So I'm going to do 5 of them. So sliding the fingers at the back of the leg. If you can get them to the back of your feet, even better, or the front of your feet. Basically the underside, your sole. All right, go for 2. All right, go for 3. Okay, so we're gonna hold the last one for about 10 counts. So remembering to breathe in this position so you're not holding your breath, which is actually not quite good, especially if you have cardiac problems. It's good to breathe through every movement. Okay, so we're gonna not work out. We're gonna stretch the obliques just to finish off. Yeah, and then this is also a dynamic stretch. Yep. Okay. I know I've just clapped, but there's one thing I'd like us to do, which is burpees. Okay, I'm joking. We're gonna finish with some nice breathing. So keeping your legs straight, so you also get the chance to stretch your hamstrings further. We're gonna do 3 deep breaths. That's the second one. And then to finish off, keeping your legs straight, breathing in and breathing out. Yay! Bye bye.